Hey, you guys. I wanted to share a dream that I had back in 2000, and I believe this actually is from 2008. Um, in this dream, and I also want to preface it with another friend of mine, and I'm going to contact her to see if perhaps she would be willing to share the dream that she had, because several years after I had this dream, probably I'm wanting to think like maybe 8, 9 years after I had this dream, she actually had a very similar dream and had shared it with a couple of people that I know. So, in the dream that I had that I'm wanting to share, it has to do with the global takeover and global control. So, I believe this dream was from 2008. And in 2008, I found myself in the very top of what looked like a control room. And I was up on I was looking down over below all of this activity, and there was this humongous model of the Earth. It was a huge globe, and on the globe, of course, you could see all of the continents, the countries, the nations, the sea, the ocean, everything. It was an absolutely a replica, exact replica of the Earth. They did not know that I was there. They had no idea that I could hear them, that I could see them. I was observing and I was invisible. So from this platform, from this area above, there was all these evil generals, and they were surrounding they were standing around this globe, and there was a scientist there in a white lab coat. And these evil generals, who were dressed in they were actually dressed in more like what you would see army generals wear. I didn't get to see their insignias, necessarily who or what nation or country they were from. I just assumed they were actually from all over the globe. And in this dream, they were discussing controlling the weather. They were discussing all these evil agenda things on their agenda that they wanted to do, that they were planning and plotting against the people of the earth. This scientist that was in the white coat, they were paying him basically to do these experiments, to manipulate the weather, to manipulate different things going on in the population, to manipulate earthquakes, to manipulate tsunamis, to cause lots of horrible weather events all over the globe. And there would be volcanic action, just anything that they could do to control the weather and type geophysical events. So I'm watching this and I'm seeing all this go on. I'm listening to their conversation. Like I said, they had no idea that I was there. And the scientist, he stood up and he said this very clearly to them. He said, "You do realize that if you do this, that millions could die. Millions of people worldwide will die." And these evil generals began to laugh, and they cackled among themselves. And I heard one specifically say, "Yes, we know." Ha 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 ha. Well, sitting off to the side, there were 3 stools, and there had been a few people that had been invited into this meeting. And one in particular that I saw there, and you all are going to laugh, but when I tell you what it means, you'll understand. One in particular that was sitting in on this meeting was Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson. And he had come into this meeting, he thought he had really made it. He was with his little braid down, his braids down the back and his little hat on and his guitar strapped over his shoulder. And he was sitting on that stool and just, wow, I've been invited into this and I've just made it. I've really made it. I'm in the top echelon of these global generals and I just have gotten called into this meeting, and suddenly, when the plot was revealed and when the evil generals unveiled what they were planning, I knew Willie's thoughts. And his thoughts were, oh my gosh, what have I gotten into? What have I gotten myself into? I've got to stop this. I have got to stop this at all costs, even if it costs me my life. Now, he didn't say that out loud, but in the dream, I knew that's what he was thinking. I could read his thoughts. Dreams are just, they're so multifaceted and they're spiritual in nature anyway. So I knew his thoughts and I knew what he was feeling. I knew what he was planning to do, and he was going to go and reveal. He was going to go and expose what they were doing in this manipulation of the weather and the manipulation of all these global geophysical and other events that they were plotting and planning against humanity. So I've said all that because of in light of where we are. That dream, I actually found that dream back a few months ago when I was looking through my dreams from 2008. And for some reason, 2008 was a strong year for prophetic dreams that are now coming to pass. And I have found numerous of dreams and visions that God had given me in the year 2008 that actually have began to come to pass very quickly, one right after another. It's been amazing to watch. And I would call, one of my friends or a couple of my intercessor friends, and I would tell them, you wouldn't believe this. This dream I had, and it's now, here it is, it's happening. A lot of these dreams from 2008 had to do with food shortages. They had to do with even things that were going on in the news regarding the headlines that we were seeing and political things concerning presidents and just anyway, I don't have all those notes with me, but I did want to share that because we are beginning to see this globalist agenda. We are beginning to see there is a grassroots movement, and I believe that that's what Willie Nelson represents, is a grassroots movement of people who are going to know that they have got to stop this agenda, that no matter if it costs them their lives, that they've got to stop what Satan is planning to do through these evil generals and even through the evil spirits that are operating through these evil generals, these globalists that think they have control over world systems to be able to take down and do population control and just all of what the Bible basically says will happen in the end times. I personally believe that it's not time yet. I believe that, as it says in Daniel, that the enemy will seek to try to change the times and seasons. And I think that's where we are right now. I believe that he is actually trying to change the times and seasons and push his agenda before the time of the end. We are in the times, the birth pangs. We are obviously in the birth pangs. It doesn't, you don't even really have to be a Bible scholar to figure that out. If you read even in some of the word where you can see in Matthew 24 and 25 and even in Revelation, it doesn't take a lot of study or a lot of Bible. You don't have to have gone to seminary to figure this out. You just have to be a person of prayer and one whose heart is turned toward the Lord to hear him and to know what he is actually, uh, you know, just to come to know that what he's saying is coming to pass right now as we speak. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and let you know that these plots and plans that we're seeing, be part of that grassroots movement. We're at a place where we have to stop through prayer, through exposure, through fasting, through repentance, that the Lord is going to stop this agenda and these plans of the evil one before it's time. Now, is there going to come a time when these things are going to happen? I believe they're going to happen quickly. Anyway, I'm not going to continue to go on regarding what I think. I just wanted to share that dream with you, let you know that this is what we are seeing now with this pandemic. That's a part of that. That is part of one of their plots to control millions of people and to kill millions of people through the release of this pandemic, along with uh, doing that so that people will be afraid and they will be scared. They will take a vaccine, which has got many triggers in it. You need to do the research before you uh, just write me off as a conspiracy theorist, because I have no there's not I have no agenda with a conspiracy theory. These are things that the Lord has spoken to me over the past 12, 15, 16, 8, years before these things even came to pass, before they even came to even being in the news on a daily basis. And I'm not the only one. There's many, many other people that have heard the Lord speak to them in this way and telling them what was to come and how to pray. So be in prayer for those grassroots people like what Willie Nelson represents. You see those people even right now at the protests. You see these people saying, no, we're not going to stand for this. We're standing up for our rights. We're standing up. We're not going to allow this globalist agenda to take our nation, to take over, um, to do this evil to these millions of people, these innocent people. We're not going to allow that. And so, even if we have to be Patrick Henry's, give me liberty or give me death, and to make a stand, to take a stand, and to pray and to get out there and not be afraid. Jesus said, do not fear. He said, don't fear the shakings. He told me in a word 2 or 3 years ago, shakings are coming, but do not fear the shakings, because you are not a part of this. You are not a children. You're not children of the night. You need to walk as children of the day. These things are not going to come upon you as a thief, but they will come upon those that are walking in darkness. So be a child of the light. Pray and ask God to show you what your part is right now. To be a part of that grassroots movement, and to ask the Lord, what do you need to do at this time? What is it that you need to do for yourself, for your family, in order to see that this agenda is not proliferated and pushed forward into our generations of our children and grandchildren that are here and that are yet to come. All right, well, that's all. Just wanted to let that be known and get that out there, that you could be praying. And I'm going to speak to my friend and see if she will allow me to share her dream about that same. It was almost identical to what the Lord gave me and showed me in 2008. So thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.